The incredible story of the sinking of the unsinkable Titanic. In 1912, the departure of the Titanic was awaited with great excitement. At 269 meters long, the Titanic was the largest ship ever built. About 2,200 people joined the ship, which left England and arrived in New York City, America. This would be the last voyage for many. In the design of the Titanic, comfort was more important than speed. But is it more about convenience than security? Titanic was a luxury cruise ship. There were onboard gyms, swimming pools, and libraries. The problems in the construction phase became apparent when the Titanic sank. The deaths are well known, but in fact the first victims were shipbuilders. About 3,000 people worked on the construction of the Titanic. Before the construction was ready, 8 workers lost their lives and 28 serious work accidents occurred. During the voyage of the Titanic, the passengers were assured that they were aboard the luxury ship and that they were safe. The designers declared Titanic the best unsinkable ship. According to them, even God made this ship. The Titanic was unsinkable and would survive even in strong waves. But the unsinkable ship soon sank to the bottom of the ocean. On April 14, 1912, just 4 days after the ship set sail, the Titanic sank 2 hours and 40 minutes after hitting an iceberg. Some passengers doubted the safety of the Titanic from the very beginning. But some thought they were on the safest ship in the world. Even the captain of the Titanic did not doubt that the ship would sink. This is what the captain said before his last trip. Do not think of any situation that would cause the ship to sink. After the sinking of the Titanic, several years of research were conducted. Reasons were sought. The sinking of the Titanic caused great chaos. The lower parts of all the ships of that time were empty. This space is filled with water when the ship is hit. But the situation in Titanic was different. Instead of leaving the bottom of the ship empty, the new designers placed certain compartments there. These units were supposed to act as a means of alarms in case of emergency and alert the captain's cabin. From the kiosk, the lids of the compartments could be closed instantly with devices. In this case, if water filled the lower layer of the ship, any intervention from the upper layer prevented the water from spreading to other compartments. The entire body was surrounded by double walls. If the first layer was punctured, the water could not pass through the second layer. The body was divided into 16 parts by transverse partitions. Therefore, the lifeboats were calculated for 1/3 of the passengers. A small number of safety boats were placed in order to spoil the beauty of the ship's exterior. Only 22 lifeboats were planned for more than 2,000 passengers. Perhaps this was due to the fact that maximum security measures were taken on the Titanic. Everything was taken into account. The giant ship was steered by a small rudder. In addition, the ship was somehow poorly equipped with warning and reconnaissance equipment. The passengers and the ship's crew did not believe that this magnificent ship could crash. They had a right to it. The ship was commanded by an experienced seaman, Captain Edward Smith, and assisted by a specially trained crew. Also, Titanic was made very solid and reliable. Yes, the small floating city of passengers. Titanic was a symbol of modernity, comfort, and safety. Titanic could last only 2 hours and then split in two. Those left on board threw themselves into the cold waters of the ocean. Finally, around 1 o'clock in the night, the world's largest ocean liner, the unsinkable ship, Titanic, sank to the bottom of the ocean with hundreds of passengers. Hundreds of people scattered on the cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean were still struggling with death. Looking at the list of those who died and those who survived, it is clear that even in death, rich and poor were chosen. 60.8% of the first-class passengers, 43.8% of the second class, 24.5% of the third class survived. While the passengers were unaware of the seriousness of the danger, Captain Smith personally went to John Astor's office and informed him of the ship's fate. By the way, when John Astor's decapitated body was found in the sea, he was recognized by the $4,000 in his pocket and the diamond ring on his finger. The price of that ring was $120,000. Today, Titanic sleeps forever at a depth of 4 kilometers in the Atlantic Ocean. His remains could not be found for a long time. The level of technology at that time did not allow this. After much searching, finally on September 1st, 1985, 640 kilometers off the island of Newfoundland, a robot searching at a depth of 3,050 meters in the ocean transmitted a picture of metal pieces covered with soil. The underwater mini-robot entered the ship and took hundreds of pictures there. A total of 1412 items were removed from the ship. Some of them were returned to their owners, and some were sold at auction at a high price. Some of these items are still kept in the museum. A lot has been written about the Titanic in the 99 years since its destruction. There is another version about the sinking of the liner. According to that version, the company that supposedly made this ship was on the verge of bankruptcy at that time, and in order to get rid of it, made a very secret decision to destroy the Titanic on its first voyage, because Titanic was insured for a very large amount. In general, there are many versions about the reason for the sinking of the Titanic. The secrets of Titanic cannot end. When the Titanic was sinking, as a last hope, fireworks were thrown into the air to attract the attention of distant ships. Seeing the fireworks, the crew of the ship California guessed that it was a party because the fireworks were white, because at that time the ships had a rule according to the colors of fireworks. White color meant fun, and red color meant danger. Titanic was provided with enough red firecrackers before the trip, but white firecrackers are still thrown into the air.